Welcome to another segment of Lore You Should Know, where we talk about little bits of Dungeons & Dragons lore for your own edification or just for fun. I am Greg Tito, and I'm joined by Mr. Chris Perkins.
Hello.
And today on this very pleasant Lore You Should Know segment, we are going to talk about the 9 hells. You know, one hell wasn't enough. We had to multiply it by 9, exactly.
Also known as Beator.
Beator.
Yes.
Is it its own? All right, and this we'll get into the nitty gritty. Is it its own plane of existence?
It is. The 9 hells is one of the outer planes.
Outer planes.
It is the lawful evil outer plane.
And is it physically split into 9 different realms?
Yes. And if you think of it almost like an upside down wedding cake, it just sort of boop, 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 stacked one above the other with the first layer at the top and the 9th layer at the bottom.
And how do you if you were on, say, the first layer of hell, how do you travel to the next?
I am glad you asked. By far the most common way to get between layers is to sail down the river Styx, which is an unholy river that threads its way through all of the lower planes and then sort of cascades down through the 9 hells. And that's one way to go. It can be difficult because sometimes you go over Styx waterfalls and other bad things can happen. It's not the easiest trip down.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does it,
it
physically, but is it more of a metaphysical?
It's a metaphysical thing, which I'm glad you brought that up because it isn't a literal river with literal falls or literal anything. You can see it, you can touch it, you can fall into it, and God's help you if you do. And but you can sail on what seems like smooth waters, encountering nary a ripple on the river Styx, and find yourself on the next layer down.
All of a sudden.
Just the topography around you suddenly changes. The transitions are ever changing, and you never know what they're going to be. Even the river Styx itself does not follow a consistent course.
Interesting.
It might seem to lead one place one moment and then not lead there the next. But it is a reliable place to go down in the 9 hells.
If you want to.
And I didn't say that. What I meant was
yes. So the 9 hells is the location where devils
correct
are
devils
reside.
Devils are by far and away the most populous type of creature found in the 9 hells.
And there are different ones on the different layers, correct?
Well, devils can appear all over the place. Like, for instance, a bone devil can appear on pretty much any level of the 9 hells. But it'll be in the service probably of a different archdevil, because each layer of the 9 hells has an archdevil who rules over it, and then a number of vassals and generals who execute its commands, and then a plethora of devils underneath them to carry out all of the various tasks that one needs to perform for the greater glory of this archdevil. Often the defense being a primary concern, as well as the capture of mortal souls, because that's how devils are made.
They capture mortal souls and turn them into
new devils.
Manes? Is that what they're?
Those are the demons you're thinking of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But lemures.
Lemures. That's the word.
When a soul that is corrupt, when a mortal soul is corrupted, and because of that corruption, after the mortal dies, the soul ends up in the 9 hells. It emerges from the river Styx as a lemure.
Got it.
Which is the lowest of the low of devil kind. You could barely even really call them devils. We refer to them as least devils because there's no lower place on the pecking order, and they are just malformed, ill-shaped proto-devils that haven't really been formed yet. And they're super low intelligence, and they're super weak and vulnerable. And if you kill one, it just reforms again in the river over and over and over again, unless you do some sort of holy rite, kill it through some sort of with holy water or something after it's dead.
Can you do that while you're in the 9 hells?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, if you want to kill a lemur for good, if you want to kill any devil for good, you have to kill it in the 9 hells, because a devil that's killed abroad will reform in the 9 hells as a lemur.
So when they travel to the material plane, there's danger there,
There's
but
danger.
not that much danger.
Correct. You can kill a devil there, but it will always reform as a lemure. It'll hate that because now it has to work its way up through the infernal hierarchy all over again.
Yes.
And that can take a long time. We're not talking days. We're talking eons.
And if it's especially an archdevil or something like that, it's
Right.
taking that time.
Unless the devil has some sort of special deal, like the devil might be a very special pet of one of the archdevils. So if it dies and gets turned into a lemur, the archdevil will then promote it very quickly up through the ranks.
Because they have that power.
Because they do. Every archdevil can essentially promote a devil up through the ranks, and the goal is to get from lemur to a lesser devil, then go up through the ranks of lesser devils till you become a greater devil, go up through the ranks of greater devils, and hopefully one day, if
you're just evil enough.
if you're just evil enough, yeah, you can do it.
You
can
got
be,
it, buddy.
Exactly.
We're going to give you a bonus.
Yeah, you can become a duke who's like very important and has Asmodeus's ear and can attend court on the lowest plane of Nessus and hear all the latest rumors and become a political mover and shaker until Asmodeus one day taps you on the shoulder and says, "You have done well. I'm going to make you Lord of the blank." And blank is either first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth layer of hell. He sits in the ninth. You can't have that.
Until you kill him.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Because Asmodeus, unlike the other devils, is actually a god. And a greater one at that.
A greater god.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, well, yeah, he can't sit on that throne forever and not have something going on.
Right.
And every one of his archdevils would love to sit on that throne.
And get promoted. Would they then ascend to godhood after that?
Probably, yeah. I suspect once word gets out that Asmodeus has been gacked, all those wayward followers are going to be looking for some other lawful evil sod to pledge undying fealty to. And Mephistopheles would love that to be him. Balzabul would love that to be him. They would all love it to have that kind of attention.
How did Asmodeus get that power? Was it from Ao? Was it from an overgod type situation, or
no? What? He's extremely old. Older probably than the Nine Hells itself.
Whoa. Interesting.
He is essentially the pure distillation of law and evil into a form.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some belief that he has existed since the multiverse, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in the form he's in now, but he's always there. Just like metaphysically speaking, you can't have good without evil.
Yeah.
As long as there's been good, there's been evil, and vice versa. As long as good has existed in the world, Asmodeus or some proto-version of him has always been around to represent the embodiment of what is lawful and evil. And the Nine Hells is kind of his construct.
Which embodies that hierarchy, that like idea that you must have rank and law and order.
Yes.
And
yes. These are all things that are important to him and all things that are important to the plane, for the plane to maintain its cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, or a lot of archdevils who crave Asmodeus's power, think that they can simply just usurp it, but it takes this tremendous amount of will on his part to keep the Nine Hells and, frankly, the cosmos together. And one of the things about Asmodeus, which is kind of interesting, is that, yeah, he's evil, but he is actually interested in the multiverse's preservation. Because without it, of course, there's no him. And without him, then what's the point of anything?
Yes. Which is in direct conflict to the demons.
Exactly, which are all sort of raw entropy and destruction who want to destroy everything, which is why Asmodeus is the guy fighting the blood war. He's the guy holding the demons from destroying the multiverse. First and foremost, it's him. Because he likes the multiverse.
He's like, I want to keep living.
He likes people worshiping him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like the disruption that the demons cause. And the angels aren't always there to do what he thinks is necessary.
Mm. And sometimes those necessary things are evil, of course.
Yes, of course.
So how does he keep the demons at bay? Where does that blood war?
It mostly plays out on the first layer of the Nine Hells, because that's where the demons emerge from the river Styx and find themselves. So they pour out of the river Styx onto the banks of Avernus, and for ages now, the first layer of the Nine Hells has been a battlefield between these forces of chaotic evil and lawful evil. Other battles have been fought there as well. Battles between angels and devils.
Mm-hmm.
You know, blood war seems to draw all the attention, but there's also other kinds of conflict that happen there. And so it's very, very important to Asmodeus that the demons be held there. And so he needs somebody ruling over Avernus who is sharp enough to and has enough souls coming in to basically maintain the armies that hold the demons at bay.
Mm. And who is that person for the first layer of hell? There?
It has, of all the layers of hell, the first layer of hell has had the most sort of revolving door.
It's a turnover situation.
Yeah, it
they
really
can't
is.
keep someone good.
Yeah,
in there.
it's hard. Currently, the ruler of Avernus is Zariel, who is a fallen angel.
Oh.
She came to hell to fight evil, and
As part of the other war that you were talking about or
well,
referring
yeah,
to?
she basically was not happy with the passivity that a lot of angels were manifesting toward the blood war. She thought the angels should be throwing themselves bodily against it. So she rallied a huge army of mortals and led them into the nine hells, basically to take the fight to demons and devils alike.
She just wanted to
She
kill
was going to
both of them.
rampage over everything.
Good is better without these things in existence.
Exactly.
Anymore.
Yeah, and backed by my my throng of trained mortal warriors, we're going to show the demons and devils how it's done. Unfortunately, it didn't play out the way she wanted. Her forces dwindled, were broken, and she ultimately surrendered.
Surrendered?
She did.
That's not a thing that happens very often.
No, normally you'd expect the angel to throw herself on, to the bitter end. But she surrendered. Asmodeus was so taken by her determination and so disappointed with her current, with Avernus's current lord, that he made her an offer she couldn't refuse. And that is, if you will come with me, I will let you do what you wanted to do. I will let you fight the blood war and drive the demons back to their domain and make the multiverse a safer place for everyone. And she said yes.
Interesting. Wow.
And the person she replaced was a pit fiend, a very powerful pit fiend named Bel, B-E-L,
Bel,
who had presided over for quite some time, multiple editions, in fact, who had in turn replaced others before him, including, I believe, one of the previous rulers was Gargoth, another pit fiend, and before him, Tiamat.
Tiamat ruled Avernus?
Yes.
Oh, as a devil or as herself?
As herself.
Oh.
In first edition, she was the ruler of Avernus.
Interesting.
And then she, Asmodeus wasn't really happy with her management style and basically locked her up.
Oh, and that's... Okay, so in speaking to Joe Manganiello often about his character Arkin and what that character's MO is all about is freeing Tiamat.
Exactly. And I mean, Tiamat is really a force of nature, and I got to imagine from Asmodeus' point of view, it was a bit of a risk.
It's like, we're going to bring you on, but we'll see how this works out. No, I guess it didn't. Sorry, we're going to lock you up here.
Yeah, that was, so.
And then in Tyranny of Dragons, so that was
That was the premise, is mortal people trying to free her from her prison in the Nine Hells and bring her into the world.
Interesting. All right, well, it didn't work.
Did not work, as far as we know, unless it happened in your campaign, in which case, bravo. Tiamat's now ruling your world.
And now we want to hear all about it.
Right, yes. So Tiamat is still, canonically, confined to her corner of Avernus. Now, what's interesting is there are things that can draw her out, and she still has some leash, I guess is the word, to wander Avernus. And occasionally she sticks her nose in other people's business. But
so it's kind of like a house arrest type situation.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But she would love to get out of Avernus if she could.
Yeah. I mean, most people would.
She doesn't want, I don't think Tiamat wants to return to that position. She wasn't necessarily happy in that management role either.
She's like, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to...
Yeah, pretty much.
I got a startup mentality going on.
Yeah, I'll take a world. Give me a world, any world.
I hear
Kryn?
Kryn's open. Let's do it. We're moving on up.
Yeah, they know me by a different name there, but, same kind of...
We just want to get to an IPO eventually so that we can sell
right.
off. Yeah.
So maybe the next place she does show up is Kryn. Who knows?
Interesting. I love all this. So, what do how can dungeon masters kind of infuse this lore into their storyline? How much do people in, say, the Forgotten Realms or other shades of existence know about the Nine Hells?
I think that people know of it, and they know where devils come from.
Mm-hmm.
They're grateful that devils can't leave the Nine Hells freely without some powerful summoning spell, and they hope that they will never end up there. Because the Nine Hells, if your soul ends up there, you're never going to be happy. It is a place of abject tyranny and enslavement. So it is in some respects even worse than any other place, even the Abyss. In the Abyss, you probably won't live long in what amounts to an afterlife there. But in the Nine Hells, you'll probably be stuck there forever, and probably in a form you don't like, and at the mercy of some higher authority that you just cannot stand. All the worst bosses are there.
When you're a Lemure, you said they had low intelligence. Do they have awareness of their former life?
They have no real awareness of their former life.
Okay.
But they're just smart enough to know they're being oppressed.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we didn't talk on too much of the other layers, but just to sort of gloss them over, every layer has its own archdevil, and every archdevil has his own or her own flavor to them. Dis Pater, the Lord of Dis, the second layer, is a master negotiator and loves Machiavellian schemes. Glazia, who's Asmodeus's daughter, not too long ago, you assumed command of the sixth layer of Malbolge, and she's into sort of illusions and misdirection and seduction.
And does that manifest itself in the layer itself?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So since Dis Pater is all about deals, and they're ironclad, iron is kind of like this pervasive element on his layer, and the cities are cast out of iron. And on Glazia's level, what you see is almost never what's really there. Everything is sort of veiled. There's decay throughout the entire plane, but it's all hidden and made to look beautiful and pristine.
Creepy.
Yeah. So they've all got a flavor. They've all got a flavor to them. Some of the archdevils are in good shape. Others, they're kind of hanging by a thread. Balzabul was kind of transformed for disobeying Asmodeus into a giant slug creature. He'd just as soon not remain that way forever. Levistus, who rules the layer of Stygia, is encased in ice, imprisoned, but still kept in charge. And he's hoping one day that ice will thaw and he'll be able to walk around like everybody else. But until then, he has to project out through the ice to reach his followers.
Is the layer also encased in ice? Or
It is a frigid. It is one of the two frozen layers of hell.
Oh, there's frozen layers.
Yes.
So they don't have that whole fire and brimstone type
No,
thing
that's
throughout.
another thing about the Nine Hells worth mentioning is that they are varied a little bit in terms of their climate. But they're always kind of horrible. They're either like Avernus is hot and blasted wasteland. Nothing really,
desert-like.
Yeah, nothing grows there. It's all kind of badlands, wasteland. There's no real life to the place. But places like Stygia and Caenia are immensely cold, frigid, hatefully cold places. Then you've got the classically fiery ones, but then you've got like swamp, just endless swamp and decay, which is just kind of like my worst hell.
Yeah.
Like I would just as soon bake in a furnace than have to wade through
Muck and
flies and humidity till the end of days.
Well, you're in the right climate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't go to Florida.
Right. There is no hell where it just, I think, rains all the time, but maybe that's the swamp layer.
No, that's the celestial layer. Like that's
exactly.
a happy time.
Right. Yeah, rain is great.
Cascadia.
Yeah. Mist.
The happy hunting grounds.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll do some lore you should know on other planes soon. But
sounds good.
Always good to get a great overview of what's happening in the Nine Hells. Fascinating stuff. As always, if people wanted to ask any questions of you about these layers or the political machinations of what's happening in Hell, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm on Twitter at Asmodeus. No, I'm on Twitter at Chris Perkins DND.
And I'm at Greg Tito, and I now want to ask you like 4 other lore you should know segment questions about how the Lady of Pain figures into all of this.
Oh, yeah.
We'll save that for another time.
That's a good one to
Dun,
save.
dun, dun. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back with another segment next week. All righty.
Sweet.
That is good stuff. Yeah,
so much.
I remember we've totally done one on the 9 hells in the past, but it was, like I said, good to get a good overview. And then exactly, my brain was going, okay, I think you've mentioned that same thing about the Lady of Pain, that she holds the multiverse together, or there's the theory that she is the one who's holding it all together, and like what their relationship is with Asmodeus. That's very fascinating to me.
Yep.
We'll get it. We'll delve into there soon.
We didn't talk about Asmodeus' many forms.
Well, maybe we'll do one just on him, because there's probably a lot more.
There's a whole lot on him.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Then, of course, I meant to mention this, but that bringing it back to Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and that there's the Castellaners who have that relationship with Asmodeus and what that means.
Yeah,
all that.
And we'll see more people, more villains with relationships with Asmodeus.
Yes.
In the future. So
he's definitely got his thumb on the pulse of what's happening in the material planes.
He was going to be the main villain of Dragon Heist at one point.
Oh, really?
Did I tell you about that?
Yeah. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, we'll just do 3. 4. 6.
Yeah.
There's a lot of villains.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, I won't pepper you with any more questions, because then we'll start spilling all the beans. The legumes will be everywhere. Thank you, everyone who's been watching for our Dragon Talk live recordings. Thank you, of course, to Ryan Marth, who is the audio engineer putting this all together. Yay, Ryan! And Pelham Green, who is manning the videos. We don't get time to actually call out people, so I'm like,
that's true.
Now's the time to do it. And then, of course, to DC Lasser, or De Classer, who has been moderating in the channel. Welcome, and thank you for keeping all of it going. Thank you. You are all fantastic. I'm going to throw it with time to spare to Binwin Plays through Idle Champions. Enjoy all of the fun that occurs there, and we'll leave it to you. All right, we'll be back next week with some fun stuff. Thanks a lot, everybody.